Hi, everyone. Welcome to my new Zoomcast series, Fintech and Philosophy, where we explore the personal motivations that drive the success behind Fintech's top C-suite executives. I'm Cindy Taylor, publisher of Digital Wealth News, America's leading source for financial technology news in the financial sector. Today, I'm joined by Michael Pinsker, founder and president of Docupace Technologies. Michael grew up in a very interesting part of the world, Kiev, Ukraine, where he studied math from a very young age. And in 1991, he immigrated to the US and turned that talent in mathematics toward focusing on technology and software development. After graduating from UCLA with a computer science and engineering degree, he co-founded a consulting firm specializing in workflow imaging and document management services. Then he went on to found Docupace in 2002, focusing on bringing the workflow and document management platform to a SaaS model, which I think was happening quite frequently at that point in time, if I'm not mistaken. And that firm is now focused on the financial services industry. So let's get started. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today on Fintech and Philosophy. We're so excited to hear all about your journey into the digital wealth sector and how you got there.
Thank you, Cindy. It's a pleasure to be here and to share my story and my background with all of you.
Oh, that's so great. Well, let's get started with the questions. We've got quite a few, and I know we're going to end up with some great information on you and Docupace by the end of this interview. Michael, can you first tell us briefly about your current role at Docupace and what you do there?
Yeah, as the founder and president, I have a privilege of being able to focus on the areas which I'm extremely passionate about and fairly proficient in, and that is product and technology. So today, I oversee a product and I oversee technology as we deliver that to our clients. And that's primary focus. But being a founder and kind of running in all different roles within Docupace in the past, I also help out the team and then work together with whether it helping with certain customers or whether helping with certain opportunities to our sales team. They kind of tap into my knowledge and the background to be able to help bring that to our customers.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question that's not on our script right off the bat. Do you do any coding still?
I miss it. The answer is no. It's been a while, but I do miss it. It's being a computer science by background and a programmer in the past. It's definitely a passion of mine. So I tinker with different things here and there, but not the Docupace.
That's probably the answer I expected, but you never know. Sometimes founders still need to dabble in that coding as well. So I was just curious. We're going to move on. I want to hear a little bit about you now, Michael. I want to hear about where you live, why you live there. I want to hear about your partner, whether or not you have children. Are they in school? Do they work professionally? We want to hear about you and your family.
Sure. So I grew up in Ukraine, in Kiev, as you mentioned. I went to actually the boarding school there, specializing in physics and math. Then also had 3 years of college in Kiev Polytechnical Institute, studying applied math. Then we immigrated. My whole family, we are Jewish by background. So we immigrated as refugees to the United States in 1991. And came straight to Los Angeles. Both this was with my mom, my father, my sister, and I. And at that time, I didn't know much of English. So the first year was all studying English inside of basically living in Los Angeles and adapting to the culture. And then went to UCLA to study computer science and graduated from UCLA later on. So since that time, Los Angeles been our home, even though I did live in a few other areas within the United States, whether it was in Lake Tahoe or in Arizona, in Phoenix for a number of years. But I always gravitated back to LA because that's where my family is. That's where I met my wife. Who we have a kid with, a son who is 19 now. And that's basically where we at today. As I mentioned, my son is 19. He just started University of Michigan, studying data science. I guess he just kind of goes a little bit after his father in that regard. And we are empty nesters at this point, so it's kind of an interesting time in our lives, trying to experience.
That's great. Is your wife American born?
She is originally actually from Odessa, also from Ukraine, but interestingly enough, we met here in the United States 10 years after we immigrated. So we didn't
Oh
know
my
each
gosh.
other, and it just happened to be that we met, and 4 months later, I proposed, and here we are.
Aw.
Yeah,
Quite a
20,
culture shock to
24
move from
years
the
later.
Ukraine to Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful story. I want to hear if you have any personal passion projects or outside activities that help shape who you are today.
Absolutely. There is uh, on sports. I like various sports. I'm passionate about the table tennis or ping pong, as many of us call it, as well as a recreational sport. I play it vividly, and I even got my son to participate in competitions as a result of that. But that's one of the passions, kind of on the personal side. On the business side, career side, I like being an entrepreneur at heart. I like to help others, and I'm at kind of a stage in life where I have enough knowledge and background to be able to be valuable to whether it's startups or a little bit more established companies who I basically consult with. So I have a number of those who I help with as well, and that's a passion of mine. If I can be of any help to others as they starting on this entrepreneurial journey, then it's something which I enjoy doing quite a bit. And then the other project, kind of a passion project of mine, which I'm working with a number of people in at UCLA. We're trying to establish a kidney center to really combat the kidney disease, which is part of the reason why it's a passion project for me is my mom had kidney transplant, and that kind of put a certain mark on my views as it relates to this particular disease. And as a result, we are blessed to be able to actually influence and help with that, and really provide resources to other people who need those, who are dealing with those kind of diseases. So those are kind of the three areas for me which I'm passionate about, and working outside of Docupace and outside of the professional career.
I personally love that. I don't think I've ever heard ping pong as a personal passion, so I love that. And then combining that with entrepreneur training and medical, a medical focused passion, I think that's really, really cool. I have a friend whose father just had a kidney removed, so it seems very front and center for us today. So it's great that you're involved in that. That's just amazing. I want to hear a little bit about your career path and how did that lead you to where you are currently. We did talk briefly about that in the opening, but I would like to hear a little more detail about that.
Sure. So as we mentioned, graduated from UCLA, and my first job, which actually while studying at UCLA, I was also working full time at the small company. It was a startup which worked closely with um, uh, uh, government agencies, trying to basically establishing the workflow document management systems. And that kind of put me on the path of learning what that entails, and how big of an impact that actually has on various businesses. So since then, I went to work for Paramount Pictures, which was kind of an interesting journey for me, where I was able to learn a little bit about the movie industry, as well as apply my technological to like technical skills to see how this can kind of be advanced. And it happened to be that, again, the work for document management was front and center in that regard as well, which was kind of an amazing coincidence. And then working with Unisys afterwards, where basically we were installing also large enterprise systems at various organizations, insurance companies in particular. And that's where I learned a little bit about the financial services and insurance to start with. So in 1997, all of these experiences led me to start a consulting company to be able to install and configure various imaging systems for different products and different companies. And grew the business from 97 until 2001. But then it's always in the back of my mind. I thought that it would be great to create a product, not just install somebody else's product, but kind of build a system which actually would make a difference for its customers. So in 2002, that's how Docupace was born. I saw the opportunity to kind of merge the knowledge which I accumulated by that time about the workflow and document management, and also the emergence of the internet, and to build the system really kind of was designed from ground up to be completely web-based, and then what's known now as software as a service type of methodology. So that's kind of led me to Docupace, and I've been at it ever since. We kind of evolved from providing the document management system to be fully kind of transaction processing, new account opening ecosystem and a kind of a back office operating system for the wealth management firms. And it's been quite a journey, quite an exciting journey.
Wow. Fascinating. I love that you had some movie experience and that brought you into it. That's unexpected, right?
Yep. Yep.
My understanding too, I know somebody who was one of the founding team members at InvestNet, and when they first launched as a SaaS firm, everybody's like, what's this? What's this cloud-based thing, you know? So I imagine you had a little bit of a learning curve or a teaching curve early on to explain to people what a SaaS model was in 2002.
Correct. No, yeah, you're right, because back then the types of systems which we were installing initially before that, they required a lot of hardware, they required a lot of kind of network bandwidth. And then when we came out with the first version of Docupace, it was pretty innovative, and having it completely be delivered over the web in a consistent manner meant that it would be significantly cheaper for our customers, and it would also provide ability for them to access data from anywhere. You didn't have to be in the office to be able to access your files. You could be on vacation, and basically, as long as you had access to the internet, you would be able to access the files if you need it for emergency purposes, for example. So
very cool. Yeah, very interesting. How do the items that you've just shared with us impact your role today as president of Docupace?
it's there are several kind of learnings along the way which happened. Number one, I would say, is it's all about people. It's all about the team, both internally as well as the customers who we serve. And in today's role in Docupace, we actually going through what we call the value kind of reviewing the cultural elements of our values, the corporate values, right? And one of them is being customer centric, and that impact is really kind of I mean, that value was originally created back from when I started the business, and it permeated throughout the whole journey within Docupace. So with my current role, again, it's all about serving others, and it's all about making sure that people around me are able to do their best, and I can be of any help to them. And that is definitely kind of been permeating throughout my career. And I just know that if I surround myself by people who are excellent and I empower them to be able to do their best, then success is only a matter of time. It's
I love that.
all of
That's a
us.
great philosophy. And you're right. I mean, I don't know. I think so many CEOs have, and presidents of firms are not necessarily focused on making sure that all these people are happy and that they're being empowered to grow and that they're getting the right support from the management team. I think a lot of it's very numbers, 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 which it has to be. But, there's more to it than that, to be a leader, to be a true leader, and to grow a firm. We have just one more question for you, Michael. If you were to select one phrase or motto that you lived your life by, what would it be and why?
I'd say no regrets. So to me, every time whenever I make a decision, or especially the kind of certain moments in my life when there are some tough decisions to be made, that's always on the back of my mind. I want to be able to wake up the next day and not feel the regret. I want to make sure that whatever I do it with integrity, and I also a learner myself, kind of a life learner. So I like to experience new things and learn about them. So for that, it's kind of seizing the opportunity. So part of that no regrets, it basically plays into this. It forces me to think like, why would I make a certain decision a certain way, and would I regret that in the future? And so far I've been lucky in that regard, and it's and kind of I feel that was the right motto for me personally to be able to live by.
I love it. I love it. Well, Michael, that wraps up our conversation. This has just been so fun. I really feel like I learned a lot about you in a very short period of time, and I really enjoyed it. I want to say thanks to our audience for joining us today, and make sure to check out Docupace online. We'll have a slide after we finish this interview with their URL. And cheers from the last best place, Bozeman, Montana. We'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.